Well, welcome back to the final presentation of Casual Connect 2013 in Hamburg. I can see all the smartest people who are in the room who stayed all the way through to the end. It wouldn't be any conference these days involved with technology without some discussion of the word cloud, and we're finishing off with something about cloud. So I'm going to introduce Stefan, who's going to introduce the panel, and we'll talk about Microsoft Azure and the solutions that they have available. Oh, of course.
Hi. Welcome to our breakout session from Microsoft here at Casual Connect. And although it's one of the last sessions in the row, or to be honest, the last session in the row, I'm convinced that we have a thrilling story to tell, and maybe a surprising one too. My name is Stefan Harms. I'm working for Microsoft Germany as a business development manager for gaming. So in case you are part of the gaming community and you want to reach out to Microsoft here in Germany, I'm one of the guys you might talk to. With this session, our aim is to talk about the Windows Azure platform, the cloud platform for gaming scenarios and for gaming companies. And I'm very, very proud to get support by two of our great partners who already decided to move to Windows Azure, who already use the power of our platform. I welcome on stage Chris Wegmann from Exitgames. I think many of you already know Chris Wegmann from Exitgames because he's one of the well-known guys within the gaming community. Anyone who already is aware of Exitgames, Photon server? Okay, thanks. And Carsten Wüst, he's following. He's from Mobilebits, and Mobilebits is the company where Soulcraft comes from. So welcome on stage, Carsten. He's also well-known in this community. Yes. And again, Soulcraft. And a colleague from Microsoft Germany as well, Stefan, another Stefan Peppersack. He's presenting the third part of this breakout. He's talking about all the things we offer for companies, for gaming companies who are interested in evaluating Windows Azure in a joint approach, hand in hand with Microsoft. So, I switch over to you, Chris. The stage is yours. I do the timekeeping. You got only 20 minutes, and I have a timekeeping assistant anywhere. Where are you? Thanks. So, Chris.
Thanks, Stefan. Can I get the thing? Nice to meet you. So I'm Chris, founder of Exitgames. I'm in the game industry since 2003. So that's why maybe a couple of guys already know me. So back in the days, our vision was to build a multiplayer gaming platform for mobile devices. So it was a time where people were using a lot of Nokia phones. So Series 40, Series 60 phones, playing Snake on their phones. But it was already clear that gaming is becoming really big on mobiles. And we said, yes, that's great. And we want actually that gamers can play together. So we said we build a platform that enables game developers to play against or with each other. Since then, 10 years passed, and we had a rough time and good times and bad times. But about 3 years ago, we launched a new product called Photon. And Photon is, we refocused a little bit, so it's still multiplayer, but the focus of Photon is to enable game developers to build real-time multiplayer games. So it's pretty hardcore. So it's a socket server and framework. So you can build first-person shooters with it, races with it. What's pretty exciting is our headquarters here in Hamburg. We did everything international. So everything on our website is English. All our customers are from mostly US and all over the world. And we were able to attract 23,000 developers with our technology. So we reached that number just a couple of weeks ago. And alone in January, 1,500 developers downloaded our SDKs. So that is great for us, pretty surprising. Among those 23,000 developers, we have a couple of really big and well-known developers. So we have customers like Glue Mobile or Codemasters or Coca-Cola or local companies like Fish Labs or InnoGames and BigPoint and so on. Here are a couple of screenshots. So Glue Mobile is a big mobile company from San Francisco, but 23,000 developers. It's amazing, and that's one of the things that's exciting about the games industry is that there are so many indies out there, and obviously 23,000 developers. I would guess that 99% of those developers are actually indies, and these guys built amazing stuff with Photon, and we are always surprised. So on the left lower side, it's Veli Pekka. He was just sitting here and going out. They ported over Counter-Strike to Android and iOS, and they are skyrocketing. And the people played, thousands of players play it every day on our cloud product. On the lower right side is a Minecraft game from a Russian guy who is attracting 40,000 players, concurrent players every day. And he launched his game just in Russia on 2 social networks there. So I can't read anything. Everything is in Russian, and I have no idea how this guy is doing that. So before I, let's say, spin the loop, so Stefan introduced, it's about cloud gaming and clouds and so on. So about 3 years ago, we decided to sell or to invent Photon Server, and we call it's an on-prem product. So it means that game developers buy a license and then go out and find a hoster to actually host the solution. They can totally customize it. And about 3 years ago, it was already pretty common that people just rented servers or went to Amazon. And about, I think 5 years ago, Microsoft already started with the Azure cloud platform. But recently they introduced something which is really competing with Amazon, which is infrastructure as a service. So you can ramp up machines worldwide in all the data centers, and that's a good example. So we just launched more or less a couple of weeks ago full support for Azure. So you can download Photon Server and you use all the Azure data centers to host Photon in there. Another interesting product we decided to launch 9 months ago was a cloud product. So we decided, okay, picking a hoster, running servers, operating servers is kind of inconvenient, especially for indies who don't have a lot of time to deal with it. So we decided we want to build a software as a service, which means you don't have to deal with any server-side hosting at all. So, and that's a product. We launched servers around the globe. We started in US and Europe. And we were pretty overwhelmed by the success of that product. So just within a couple of weeks, we had thousands of concurrent players playing the games, and it got more and more. So we added servers. So we reached already 50 servers worldwide. We launched a data center in Singapore. We are just adding Japan. And in January, we were pushing around 300 terabyte of data just in our cloud. So it was really insane. So I didn't believe that. So one of our backbones for the cloud is, again, the Azure platform from Microsoft. So we use it for a couple of things. So what Azure allows is it gives us capacity on demand, so we can just use it for spike load and so on, and the worldwide data center infrastructure to actually cover all the users hitting our cloud. On the client side, we support pretty much everything. So our most important platform for sure is Unity. So I guess if we have game developers here, that about, at least from our experience, about 80% of all the game developers we are talking to are actually using Unity. So a little bit, let's say, my view on the whole cloud thing, and I hope that my learnings just shade a little bit new light on that. So the evolution of hosting. So yeah, years ago it was pretty common. You started to rent servers at different providers. So there are providers out there like SoftLayer or LeaseWeb or Hypernia or 1&1 and so on. After that, Amazon came along and just introduced infrastructure as a service. So you could launch machines just with a press of a button, and you could do that globally. So, and that's what Windows Azure is doing as well. So there are a couple of other providers, SoftLayer and LeaseWeb, but still, the problem with that is you still have to deal with patching your servers and everything. And if you have 50 servers, it's quite a lot of work. So what the Microsoft guys did, they went one step further and did something which is called platform as a service, which means you can ramp up machines and you deal with your code, but they take care of the patching and everything. And that's pretty interesting, I think, especially for indies who just have to focus on game development rather than patching servers. Well, the latest trend I see in the industry is that more and more software as a service companies are popping out. So that's what we did with our Photon Cloud. So we focus really on one thing, and that is real-time multiplayer, and we make it that simple. So we provide libraries for every platform, we make it super easy to sign up, but we are not the only one out there. I mean, there are companies like Raw Engine, which is doing like a social API for real-time and high scores and achievements and in-app purchases. You have companies like Playhaven, which are focusing on rewards and stuff like that. You have a company like Game Analytics or Swerve, which are out there, which are focusing on game analytics. So, and that's, let's say, more or less my summary. So the question to say, okay, which one of should I get Iron Service? Should I host with Amazon, with Azure, use software as a service? So in the end, the right answer is more or less you have to find the right mix as a game developer. So I would say 90% of the cases, every game developer has to develop custom code. And I would highly recommend game developers to have a look at Azure, because it gives you a lot of stuff which is going out of the box. So usually if you do your game, you have to do registration and login. You want to do Facebook integration. You want to write custom server logic and so on. And Azure gives you a lot of those features and makes it very easy to build, and you don't have to deal with backups and stuff and patching. And on the other side, you're picking all the software as a service companies which are out there. So you, like I mentioned already, and I just covered really a fraction of the services which are out there. And this combination, I think, makes game development very powerful, very fast. So when game developers have time to really focus on their gameplay and everything, and don't waste time with stuff which is really done very well by external companies. And that's my summary, basically. So it's rather a question make or buy. I think in some it's more find the right mix, and that would be my recommendation to game developers. I'm always surprised how many people don't even know which companies are out there and don't make their homework, let's say, and really see where can we save time and money. So today I would like to announce that Photon Server fully supports Azure. So everyone is free to sign up on our website, download our Azure SDKs. We did a pretty intense tutorial where we explain everything. It's super simple. And whoever would be interested, so you can reach out to me and you get a 6 months free package for our cloud. So our cloud is free anyway for 20 concurrent users, but if you approach me, you get, let's say, a little bit more today. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, hello guys and girls. My name is Carsten. I'm co-founder and CEO of Mobilebits, and I guess my part today is to explain or to tell you a bit about the perspective of a gaming company and how we use these tools. For contact. So we have been in the gaming business for quite some time now, starting actually in 1994. As students in school. These are my co-founders here. This is a picture from 2001 or something like that. First game, what was it called in Leipzig when I was still in Leipzig? Game Connection? No, not Game Connection. Yeah, game. So the first when it was in Leipzig and not in Cologne, we were presenting our game Web Wars at that time. So we have been PC developers for all this time, and about 3 years ago we switched from PC to mobile because we thought that's probably a good experience and a good opportunity, and we didn't want to fight with our small tiny budgets against the Call of Duties of this world. Kind of didn't make sense, so we thought if we take the same budget over to mobile, we're actually doing pretty good. So that's why we started developing Soulcraft. It's an action RPG, free to play, currently out on Android and Windows 8, very soon for iOS and Windows Phone 8. So far it looks pretty nice, so the strategy seems to go through. So we have already over 2 million downloads just in beta without any marketing spend whatsoever. Hopefully this nice trend will continue. Just a few sentences about the technology. So why did it take 3 years from starting doing this to having a real game? It's probably not the fastest way to develop games, because we first developed our own cross-platform engine, which is called Delta Engine, which allows you to, it's kind of a Unity approach where you develop once and deploy anywhere. When we started, there was no Unity, at least didn't support Android and iOS, so we kind of said, yeah, let's do it. And you can actually build on your PC with Visual Studio, C# or C++, and then cross-compile via our servers to all the platforms you can think of. We use it internally for Soulcraft already. It's still very early, so it's for if you want to use it yourself, but feel free to check it out on deltaengine.net. So now I want to show a video trailer. I hope it works, because it needs online connection. That's it. If you have an Android phone, take it out now and download it, please. It's free. It wasn't a joke. Do it now. So yeah, it's a really good game. So give it a try. We have been so far. It was pretty nice reception. We have been we were out on Apple just briefly. We actually, it's a kind of a funny story. We were featured the next day, so we uploaded on a Friday. Always a bad idea to upload something on a Friday. Then we next day I checked about the statistics and I saw something like 60,000 downloads, and I said, "What the fuck is going on?" And it turned out Apple had featured it without asking us, telling us, whatever, which is nice. However, when 3 days later the first ratings appeared, we got pretty miserable ratings because there was a big bug in there, which we hadn't noticed. And it kind of was a strange bug when Socrates was shut down in the background while playing a different app. It wasn't really shutting down and it couldn't start anymore. So people had a black screen when restarting the game. And so we had a lot of 1-star ratings, and our wonderful 60,000 downloads a day kind of dropped pretty much immediately to a lot lower. So on the one hand, very nice that Apple found the game so nice that they wanted to feature it in like over 100 countries or something. But on the other hand, it's really good to have a soft launch. So you do it. Google also noted us that we were invited to Google I/O, and we have good connections to NVIDIA and all the other graphics hardware because they like what we do with their graphic cards or their mobile chipsets. And Microsoft also likes us a bit, hopefully. That's why I'm here. And hopefully we'll be soon featured at some point on the Microsoft platform as well. So that's so far it's going really well. And so one of the specialties of the game is it's available on pretty much all platforms. But you can actually really continue playing on all the different platforms. And we do this cross-platform sync via Azure. So you can log in, you can create an account, you play a bit on your mobile phone, then you come home and continue playing at this exact same spot on your tablet or on your PC. You can actually play the game not only on touch devices, but also via mouse and keyboard on your normal PC if you have Windows 8. Or you can play it with an Xbox controller plugged into your PC. So, or on your TV. Maybe as soon you have an OYA console, you can continue playing on your TV. So that's kind of the idea behind the game, that you really can continue playing wherever you are. Yeah, I should have shown that slide while telling you that, but that's the story behind it. So how do we use Azure? Once, as I just said, we use this cross-platform sync to do the. We use it. Then we use the storage. Until recently, on Android, you had to have your own server to have additional content. You can only have up to 50 megabytes to store on the Google servers, and everything above that you need to store on your own servers and have some special downloader application running to get all the extra content. We used Azure for that. Of course, then we have user management. People can log in, sending out emails and this kind of stuff. We also do through Azure. And soon we have multiplayer, first asynchronous, that you can challenge friends and play against them. And even a bit further apart, we have real multiplayer. Actually, the screenshot you see here is a very secret, that's why I show it on stage. It's a very secret multiplayer prototype actually running on Azure, where people can play co-op in this part the game. So that works for us very, very well as well. So what's the actual experience like when you work with Azure? Actually, for us, it was pretty easy. Like as I told you, we have been in this business for 15 plus years, always developing on a PC, always using the Windows world to create stuff. So when the iPhone came out, we kind of were very reluctant to switch to Microsoft to Mac and use Xcode and Objective-C and all these things, because like if you ask our CTO, if he wants to use Objective-C, he will wonder, why? It's like 10 years backwards, going back in time for 10 years. There's no memory management, or there at least used to be no memory management when there was, and the codes are, the tools are much, are not as good as Visual, as the Microsoft tools, because they are, like there's just more time in it. So we didn't, that was one of the reasons why we started developing the Delta engine, because we didn't want to switch to a Mac environment to develop. And being this PC guys, in a sense, we thought it was, we found it pretty easy to work with Azure, because you can do everything just out of Visual Studio. It's just templates in there. If you want to deploy your stuff to it, it's pretty easy. If you want to build applications for the server, you just build a normal application and then just put a worker role around it to have an Azure application. It's also pretty easy. So basically, if you are a Windows guy, the easiest way to use the cloud is using Azure. And so that was, for us, the natural choice to use it. And the stuff worked, so we were pretty happy with it. Also, just as my last slide, being a startup, or I don't know, we found a new company when we did the mobile stuff, so I still think of ourselves as a startup, even though we have worked in the same business for 15 years plus. And as a startup, Microsoft also has some pretty nice things. I think you will go more into detail into that, but there's BizPark. You just approach one of these guys, not Christoph, but the other two, and you get free Microsoft software, so free Windows, free Word, free Visual Studio, free everything, which is nice for startups. If they really like you, they put you into BizPark 1, which is a selected group. You get more free stuff and get invited to cool conferences and stuff. And then there's also the chance, at least, this is not everybody gets this, but at least there's a chance that you get into BizPark Plus, where you get some discounts on using Azure, but you have to talk to these guys as well. So basically, that's it from our side. We have pretty good experience with it, working kind of fully Microsoft-y, but still serving all these different platforms, fully embracing iPhone, fully embracing Android, fully embracing all the other platforms out there. But working like in a very Microsoft-influenced processes hasn't hurt us so far, and I guess it won't hurt you as well. Thanks a lot.
Great, thanks, Carsten. Okay, this is really nice experience for me, because I'm the product marketing manager for Windows Azure, and usually I do all these explanations, and it's actually really cool to see our partners do it for me. So that makes my job actually quite easy. One thing that I wanted to show is our engagement model. If you say, okay, that sounds interesting, I do want to engage. I do want to engage with you as well. I do want to work with Windows Azure. What can we actually do? Of course, there's tons of free stuff on the web, so you can just work with it on a do-it-yourself basis. We have a website. If you go to www.windowsazure.de or .com, you get a localized version of our homepage. And to be honest, the homepage is already the product. Right? If you're on the homepage, it's a seamless experience to go from our homepage into the Windows Azure portal and work with the platform. But usually in the beginning, if you're a developer and you want to know what can I actually do with it, you're looking for some other stuff first. You want to know, how does coding look for Windows Azure? Where do I find some tutorials and intro stuff? And if you want to do that by yourself, just to find out how it works, here you go. Let's just see how the do-it-yourself way is. Of course, there's tons of content directly on windowsazure.com. We got loads of tutorials that all focus around our 3 main topics we have with Windows Azure. Windows Azure is easy, it's open, and it's flexible. So you'll find very rarely for Microsoft, but you will find tutorials on how to provide a Linux virtual machine on Windows Azure. We'll show you how to set up a MySQL DB on Linux on Windows Azure. So you'll find tons of open source stuff on our platform, as well as a lot of the things that you know from Microsoft, like how do I set up a Windows server, how do I set up, just use the platform from what you've heard as platform as a service. You get loads of things directly on the website. I hope you all know, if you're a developer, our Channel 9 platform, we just launched a brand new Windows Azure portal, so you get tutorials, videos going from level 100 to level 400, so easy introductional videos to hardcore coding videos. You'll find all of that on our Channel 9 platform. It's a great free resource for developers, so go check out this site as well. And of course, the next step, once you've heard one of the other things, is go try it. And we'll give you a 90-day free trial for all your services directly on the Windows Azure website. You just click on 90-day trial, and it's a real easy, smooth setup process. All you need to do is enter a .NET account, or a Google account, or a Facebook account, or a Yahoo account, whatever you got. You got to sign in with a credit card, because we need to check you're a real person as well. But we promise we're not going to charge, and there's a checkbox that is automatically checked to ensure we never ever going to charge you until you remove that checkbox. Right? So all we need to do with that credit card is make sure you're a real person and not a robot. Once you've done that, you already gained access to the platform, and you can just start provisioning processes, your applications right away. Now, if you say, okay, that's nice, I would like some more engagement. Can you help me? What is Microsoft actually doing to help me get my game onto Windows Azure? And there's two main things that I want to point out today, where we can really give you a helping hand and show you how can you transform your game, or what can you do with your next game to get it on our platform. Two main concepts, and we have Microsoft code names there. It's like sometimes being a Microsoft employee feels like we got our own language. So we try to translate that. We call it the paper exercise, which is like an architecture design session. It's about 1 day. And we'll sit down, and I think the most important thing about this is the first thing we do is listen. We don't come in with any predefined ideas or any out-of-the-box topics. We want to hear, what is your solution doing? Where are your major pain points? How can we help you fix it? That's the first thing we do. We sit down with you and we listen to what's important to you, to your game, and what are your current pain points. The second thing we do is to actually go ahead and say, okay, what can we do and how can our platform help you to overcome these problems? And we start scribbling out solutions that don't only include Windows Azure. It might be a pure Windows Azure solution, but the good thing is, of us being Microsoft, we're not only talking the cloud and Windows Azure. We also know Windows. We also know Windows Phone. We know Windows 8 RT. We know Windows 8. So we can give you that overall concept and show you an end-to-end value of what can you do with your app and what is the best way to solve your issues with our software. And we'll also give you a sizing, of course, in the end, where we go through and say, okay, we've shown you all this goodness that is Windows Azure, and the next question is, all right, sounds nice, but how much does it cost? And if you look at our website, you find a pricing calculator, yes, and you can real easily just drag some bars and see what it costs, but in the end, you need to know what is your solution actually costing. And that's one of the things we sit down and talk to you as well. We say, do you want to provide it in all of our data centers? Do you need redundancy? Do you need a local redundancy? So we go with you over all those requirements, and then we put a price on it. That's all paperwork, which is really good, because that's the start. If you say, okay, sounds good, what else can we do? I want to do the next step. Then we'll do what we call a proof of concept, and that's a hands-on experience. Hands-on experience means will come with Microsoft technical people on site. We have experts. We need your experts there as well. We need your technical people sitting down with our technical people, and sometimes even partners, because we don't do everything ourselves. Sometimes we'll take partners with us along and say they have great experience, especially in your area. So we sit down with a partner, with you, your technical people, and some people of us, and we really start doing it. We just get the app from where you are today until it's deployed on Windows Azure. So we'll help you, we'll assist you with that process. One of the really important things is, and I don't have that on this slide, but once the proof of concept is over, we don't just go off and say, thank you very much, and you're all by yourself now. We continue to work with you. We continue to assist you and help you in all of your different ways on what is the next step. Like we are here with our partners, Mobilebits, Exitgames. We want to make sure that we can help you scale the game, that we can help you to actually find the right business model for your game. So we'll stay with you. You'll have a contact person that is working with you. Stefan right here is one of those contact persons for gaming. We'll stay with you. We don't just leave you alone afterwards. And I think that is really important. You always have someone at Microsoft you can talk to. And that's basically what I want to close with. Here's contact data. It's Stefan's email address and the email address of his boss, who was supposed to do this presentation. I just jumped in. Send us an email if you have any questions. If you're interested in this, feel free to reach out to us, to contact us. Even if we can't help you directly, because it's not our part of expertise, we can find the right person to help you. And we'll make sure we listen to you and we're there for you. And to get this started, I think we have some time for some questions right now. And we also still have some beers left over at the booth. The conference is over, but we still have time to talk at the booth. We'll still be here for a couple of hours, so feel free to just join us and talk to us right at the booth. Thank you very much. All right, questions?
Do we have any questions for Microsoft? Or maybe I'll ask one sort of question, more out of curiosity. For the Photon server, you mentioned low latency. How low latency is latency? There's a difference between serializing data just to store player state, but if you're playing a real-time game, you really need low latency. What does low latency mean to you? Flip the switch.
Good question. So for sure, it depends. In the mobile world, it depends if your wireless device is connected to wireless LAN. So usually you have a good latency. If you go through 3G or 2.5G networks, it's getting worse and worse. So it varies from, let's say, 30 milliseconds, which is very, very good, to up to 400, 500, 600 milliseconds, which is really nasty. So if you have first-person shooters or racing games which need this low latency, you have to basically you send your position to your opponent. It gets to that opponent 700 milliseconds later, so you have to predict it 700 milliseconds in the future, and that can get really laggy and bad, and then your hardcore players are complaining. But I mean, we're on the casual connect, so there are a lot of games where it doesn't really matter that much, so it's fine. So it really depends on your game.
And the most expensive part of that transaction, is that on the wireless side, so it really doesn't matter where your data center is located?
Yeah, so on the cloud, we decided to ramp up servers around the globe. So on the West Coast, East Coast, Europe, from Europe, Amsterdam, we decided to just have one hub. In Asia, we start to ramp up Singapore and Tokyo directly. But sometimes latency is really crazy. So for example, you can serve Japan better from whatever, from Amsterdam than you can from Singapore, because you have this cross sea line. So it's a science in itself to understand where you get the best latency from.
And do you replicate the data from each data center? So if you decide that somebody's in Japan moves over, you will connect them across to the new data center?
No, it's very plain. So you have to decide for a region, and then only players in that region who are connected to that region, let's say Europe, can play together. So if you want to play with your friend in the US, you would have to connect to the US servers. So one has a bad latency and the other one has a good one. But the use case that people are playing across continents is not that, yeah. It's mentioned a lot and asked a lot, but reality is that it's not happening a lot.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, I think we're all going for beer. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody for attending and staying all the way to the end. Thank you.